Welcome everyone to another episode of Kiwi Talks. My guest today is a well-known real estate agent. He's a businessman and he has a marketing degree as well, a master's marketing degree. I'd like to welcome Daniel Hopper.
Hello.
How you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. So you've done a little bit of research there.
Oh yeah, I know about my guests before I get them on.
Cool.
I want to know what I'm talking about. So first of all, I want to know is how you got into real estate in the first place.
Well, actually, I had a little ice cream business. It was a franchise ice cream business, which I don't think...
That was the one at the base, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't think it exists anymore.
Okay.
So did you ever come out, or you just saw that in my profile?
Well, I actually haven't been here that long in
Right.
Hamilton,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I've only been here a couple of years, so I think it was a bit before my time.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would have.
Yeah. Directly before real estate. So I was literally... So November and December were not too bad. So I
Yep.
started in November, and it was go. I was like, oh, this is a great idea. And then sort of Hamilton deserts over January for the school holidays. Everyone sort of goes away camping or goes to the mount to the batch and things like that. So in terms of volume of business from being that pre-Christmas, start of summer, doing really well, like January was just tumbleweeds.
Yeah.
That I couldn't even afford to sort of pay myself, let alone staff,
Yeah. Fair enough.
And basically, January wasn't, that bad, but it got progressively, and then it was a lot quieter than I sort of imagined. And I was sort of positioned right outside the warehouse, which was a really high traffic, sort of spot.
Yeah.
In that pre-Christmas, but then everyone's done their Christmas shopping, and I think the last thing people want to do is go into the warehouse after they've been in there when it's been crazy. And so I think maybe my location also. So but anyway, it didn't do very well. And then over those months, and then it was I think about April, I was sort of looking at job ads and then get back to the point, and then it was a real estate agent, and I was like, it was actually for another company too. And that was the first time I've ever thought about real estate in my life, and sort of thought, oh yeah, I could probably do it.
Because don't you have to do like an 8-week course or something to be a real estate agent?
Yeah, I think it. You do an online course. I did it with I think the Open Polytech or something.
And what do you learn in that course?
So you basically learn all the laws,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because as time's gone on and more people have been ripped off by real estate agent, they've brought in more laws and more, much more of a standard. So the Real Estate Agents Act, and then there was in 2015, I think, was it 2015? I should know this. There was an amendment. No, it would have been before 2015 because that's when I started. So there's an amendment which was sort of extra criteria that real estate agents have to follow. So we have to, fill out all these booklets and do the little tests. And
How many tests do you have to do?
Oh, there was, I think 8 booklets or something maybe. And then you just
8
do a little
booklets?
Yeah. So you learn all the stuff and do the activities and then do the little tests and then each year we have to do ongoing 10 hours of training just to make sure that we're still not ripping people off. Because after being in the industry now, I can see how it can happen quite easily, even if you're not intending to, because it's all about protecting the buyer.
Right.
Sorry, not the buyer, the seller.
The seller, yeah.
Yeah. So, it's quite easy to get an offer and you want to take it to the vendor and give them the offer. But if there's other people that have gone through the house, for example, and then they wanted to put in an offer, like if they didn't know, and then they complained to the real estate agent authority and said, I didn't get a chance to put in an offer, I would have paid X amount, we give them the shit. Because we haven't got the best result for the property.
Yeah. But isn't part of it just pitting the buyers against each other?
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. The whole thing is to protect and maximise the vendor's chance of getting top dollar. So that's what we have to do. It's funny sometimes you read comments on Facebook and bloody real estate agents just want to get paid more commission. When the reality is, if it's 50 grand difference in price, we might get $100 in commission. So it's not Doesn't
It's
matter.
not. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
We're not chasing commission because if it sells, we relatively are going to get the same.
Okay, so
commission.
that's just some myth that's kind of
that we're driving prices. We don't want to drive prices up. We just want to sell the damn house.
Yeah.
And to sell it for a lower price, obviously, it's easier. So, it's not easy to get top dollar and put on a big campaign and call everybody and because ideally you do want to put buyers in competition because then you're doing your job, selling the house and getting the best price. So.
I did a bit of drone work for some real estate agents, and the amount of work that real estate agents have to actually put in just to sell one house is insane.
Yeah, sometimes it can be easy, like just right time and place. You get the right house, you put it on the market, someone buys it, within the first week, and you're like, oh, sweet.
So how does it actually work? Do you just get allocated a house to sell, or do you go around?
No, we have to get our own business. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
But like, what if like somebody is standing and they see like. Well, they just walk past like lodges or hardcourts or something, and they're like, maybe I want to sell my house. So they just call you. And
So it's not often you get a really easy lead like that. Generally, so you might get a little bit of inquiry through the office, and so they put us on a duty roster 2 hours a day. So, and they just equal out the amount of duties over the week. And so if there's an inbound inquiry to the organisation through the office, like they call the office, they put it through their duty manager. To the duty agent. But more often than not in that scenario, you're probably going up against 3 or 4 other competitors because they've called all the offices in the area. So they'll get Harcourts, they'll get Lodge, they'll get Lugdons, they'll get maybe some from Ray White. Because Hamilton has sort of 3 main companies who share about 90% of the market.
Yeah.
Like, the 2 L's and Harcourts. But that's not very often you get that sort of lead. More people do business with someone they've already met or who has been recommended to them.
Well, you're a well-known guy, so...
Yeah, but not really a well-known real estate agent. Like, I've tried to make myself... I'm more sort of well-known as the LinkedIn guy as I am.
Yeah.
Which
we'll get
maybe isn't
later.
always to my advantage. Because when people sell their house, they want a full-time real estate agent who... Generally, they've met out there selling houses. So they've sold the house to them previously, or they went to an open home and they did a really good job. So I get sort of probably more of my business through, you meet a buyer, you might sell them something and then you sell their house. Because we get a share of the commission if we sell a property to a buyer.
Yeah.
So the commission's split in quarters. So there's a company share, which is then split in half, and then there's an agent share, which is then split in half. So there's a list and a sell. So I can take a buyer out, show them some houses, sell them something, and get paid.
Oh, wow. But like when someone's selling a house, right? Like is there a specific... So
there's an automatic quarter so that the listing agent gets a quarter when it sells.
Yeah.
And then if they get the list and sell, so someone comes to my open home, they put in an offer, gets accepted, I get the list and sell. But half of the traffic through your house will be from agents showing buyers. Because it's basically a 50-50. It might be a 60-40. So we do a 60-40 with Lugdons and Lodge, and then we do an 80-20 with some of the smaller companies because they do an 80-20 because they have to share most of their commission because they're not a big company, so they can't just give half of it away.
Yeah.
So then we split the same back. But, so Lodge, Lugdons, if I've got a buyer that comes to my open home, for example, or a friend, or someone I've done business with, it's like, hey, I want to buy a house. Can you show me some houses? And I go and show them. It could be 10 houses, or you could show them 100 houses. It could take 6 months, could take a year, it could take a couple of weeks.
I remember when I bought mine, I was looking for ages. Yeah. It must have been like 7 months, 8 months.
And you get some people like that. And it's hard. Yeah, so you might show them houses for 6 months, and when you finally get paid, you're like, fuck.
Well, and I'd tell the real estate agent this is what I want, and then they'd still take me to houses that just look terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible. Like for a real estate agent, like if you get a house that, it looks terrible, the garden hasn't been done, there's like stuff everywhere, like it hasn't been tidy.
Yeah, well,
how do you go about selling it?
Well, sometimes it's all relative to the value of the property. So you could get something in a goodish area, which is an absolute dive, and it's only that cheap because it's a dive, but it's in a good area. And then in a lesser area, you can get a better house.
Right.
And some people would prefer to be in a better area. So, the best house on the cheapest street as opposed to the worst house on a slightly better street, for example.
Yeah. But what are the numbers usually? It's like if it's a good house in a bad street, does it tend to be way more people as opposed to a bad house?
Yeah, because a lot of people buy on potential.
Oh, right.
So if they've got $50 or 50,000 that they spend, want to spend on it, they've factored into their budget that or they might be handymen, or son's a builder, or my dad's a builder, or someone's a builder, so they're going to help me build, and fix it up.
Yeah.
Because some areas like St Andrews have some streets which aren't so great, but then you're still living in St Andrews, so you can get a cheap house, probably comparatively to a really good house in this area.
Yeah. Or even in, because say Rototuna and Flagstaff, right? That's like a really good area. So it's going to be it would be hard pressed to find like a dive of a house in that area.
Yeah. So even a dive is 700,000.
Yeah.
Because it's just because everything's been built. So, there might be a few farmhouses in the area from the original days, but everything's been built since 2000, essentially. There's a few streets on Flagstaff which are a little bit older, but sort of Rototuna. Huntington started off in the 90s, sort of really took off. Harrowfield was the really nice area before that.
Yeah.
If you know where Harrowfield is, sort of the other side of Wairere Drive to Flagstaff.
Oh, yes. Yep.
So the big 80s houses and stuff where they do the Christmas lights, and you've probably driven up there for the Christmas. Oh, well, you're not a local, so maybe not.
Oh, I've been here
They do
years.
Every house in the area does Christmas lights. So like half of Hamilton turn up, and you got to park miles away, and you walk through the streets, and some people are selling ice creams.
Okay, well I'll do that this year.
Thing to do over Christmas.
Okay, man, sweet. I'll do it during Christmas. Okay, but in terms of if a buyer comes to you and they say, "Hey, we want to spend," or we don't want to spend over 400 on a house, what would you be like?
Shit. You barely buy a bit of land for 400. Show them a 2-bedroom unit. That's basically what they're going to get.
Is it 2-bedroom units?
Yeah.
Whereabouts in town?
Sort of Frankton has a lot of those. Hamilton East, sort of near the university.
Okay.
And the council also rezoned it's Dinsdale, Greenwood Street, where they have all the McDonald's and stuff, the main road.
Yeah.
Behind that, on the way to Dinsdale, that area's still sort of considered Frankton.
Oh, okay.
Even though I always sort of thought Frankton is the other side of the rail tracks where the little township is.
Yeah.
But no, Frankton stretches sort of halfway towards Dinsdale.
Right.
So there's a lot. So they rezoned that sort of 10, 15 years ago, so then that they could build units on it. So now when anything sells, essentially they knock it down and put in units, because the land value is higher in building units and maximising what you can put on the site. Then,
Yeah.
You can buy a good sized section, house and section for say 400,000 or 500,000, which they can then put 6, 8 units, 10 units on it. So,
do you have a lot of buyers from Auckland?
Yeah, well, I think I just was speaking out there outside the zone. Yeah, I think real estate. So realestate.co.nz, which all the companies list through.
Yeah. That's what I used.
So it's actually owned. I think through the companies, like a bunch of the big companies share ownership of the platform.
Oh, okay.
So everybody puts their listings on that website.
Yep.
I guess it's sort of the competitor to real estate, or to Trade Me. So anything listed in Hamilton through a company is automatically put on real estate. So where it's not, doesn't automatically go on Trade Me. You have to pay for it to go on Trade Me. So it's anyway, a little lesson in. So they come and do their, little spiel on marketing packages and stuff, which we can offer to clients. Most of the time we pay for it ourselves.
Okay.
Because it's a little bit of an expectation sometimes, when you're going in competition with 4 other agents, that they're going to be like, I will give you a commission reduction, we'll give you free video, free this, free that.
Yeah, okay. Competing with others.
Yeah, so anyway, they come and tell us the stats and stuff every so often, and usually it's around 25% of inquiries to their websites through Auckland.
Ah.
So I don't know how that equates to actual sales, but if 25% of us inquiry might be relative to 25% of sales-ish.
Because I would imagine with, the corridor between Hamilton and Auckland, it's becoming more streamlined. Huntly bypass will be done soon.
Before we know it.
And Auckland's, I call it, well, it went from being the city of sales to the city for millionaires, pretty much.
Houses got a bit ridiculous.
Yeah. So, I mean, because I'm originally from there,
right.
And I moved here, and I know some other people who are from Auckland who are looking to do the same.
Right.
Yeah. So I'd imagine, because I think when I had Andrew King on, he said that 40 people move here a week. 40 people.
Yeah. Yeah, something like that. I saw the stat recently, actually. I think he spouted it off in some of his mayoral campaign stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, X amount of people per year, because it's quite 5,000 a year or something.
Something like that.
Yeah, quite a lot. So we've got a very similar growth rate in terms of population to Tauranga. So I think we're slightly ahead of Auckland, like 3.1% a year, whereas Auckland was 3% a year or something. So relative to,
I think
they were the top fastest three growing cities in the country, and so our population is higher than Tauranga's. So we're getting more,
more people.
Yeah, but obviously also, Auckland's, way.
But the problem with because Tauranga has the same problem as Auckland does.
Their prices are sort of, I think you're paying.
Well, it's Auckland 2.0 because of, a lot of people move there and because of the beach, and it also sits on two harbours as well. So it has a lot of the same traffic congestion problems as Auckland as well.
Yeah, because it is so little bays are spread out, and
it's
not like Hamilton where you
got a
big open piece of land.
That's right.
Heaps of transport routes, and even though some of them are pretty shocking.
Are you for an amalgamation with the different areas?
What do you mean?
So like
a super city?
Well, no, because how Hamilton is its own thing, and then you've got
District Council.
Yeah. So you kind of you've got the Waikato District Council, you've got the Waipa District Council, you've got what else? The Regional Council, the Hamilton City Council. Yeah. So say if Cambridge,
there's a lot of bureaucracy.
If Cambridge became part of Hamilton, for example, I mean, I pretty much view it as that it is because it doesn't take that long to get there.
There is such a grey area because I had this conversation with someone. Who was it? Might have been Richard Briggs, the CEO of Council.
Oh, yeah, I know him.
About Tamahere. The most well-off people in Hamilton
don't actually live in
don't live in Hamilton City.
Yeah.
So they're not paying for the rates and stuff.
Yeah.
Because they're sitting within the regional council. Whereas every day they drive into Hamilton, live here, work here, apart from when they go home to their big house in the countryside, So for me, it makes no sense that Tamahere isn't part of Hamilton City Council.
So Tamahere is part of the Waipa?
Regional.
But
so they pay regional rates.
But because there's different district councils.
So Waipa, I think Waipa must be just outside that, because that's that sort of Cambridge, Te Awamutu.
Because it just seems ridiculous. I mean, maybe this is just the Aucklander in me, where it's just one council and just
they had this
makes it all convoluted and complex.
Well, they had that conversation about 10 years ago, didn't they, when they made the super city, and that was the point, that there was just I
think the downside is in Auckland. When I spoke to Angela, is that funding is neglected in certain areas as a result.
Right.
Yeah. So that's the downside.
More things fall between the cracks because they don't have their own.
But I know, I've got family and friends who live in Cambridge, and they said that the Waipa district, more money goes into Te Awamutu than Cambridge, because even though Cambridge is growing faster than Te Awamutu, the mayor is from Te Awamutu, so
they distribute more.
Yeah, which doesn't even make sense. Say Te Awamutu has a pack and save, for example, but Cambridge doesn't, and Cambridge has way bigger population Te Awamutu. It's going to surpass Taupo soon. So.
Oh really?
Yeah, it won't be long. Cambridge is going fast.
Cambridge has, because I actually lived in Cambridge for about 6 months as a kid, literally about 6 months.
Oh, it's a nice town.
Yeah. And it didn't ever feel like a big place, but we lived in Leamington, so I kind of was quite surprised how spread out it was, because it does have such a small township, and it doesn't seem to have those big shopping areas that towns, because I guess everyone comes to Hamilton, so it hasn't needed its, and the expressway. It has the last sort of 10 years, there's been a lot more sort of along that road, the main road that used to go through sort of those takeaways and places sprout up along there, but along the sides, like the main street, I don't know, maybe it's just because I'm Hamiltonian, I don't really know where other stuff is, but it just hasn't really felt like it's that big of a place because it doesn't have the township. But no, you're right. What is population over there now?
I think it's like
45,000? 40,000?
No, well, I think the last census had it like 25,000 or something.
Right, yeah.
I think Taupo is at like 30. So
should have said only 30,000. See, that feels bigger. I guess because Taupo's in the middle of nowhere and it's a tourist place, it feels bigger. Because there's a lot of shops and stuff sort of right on the...
Yeah, and I suppose most of them...
like the big stores. Like
the economy of that place is from tourism.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
there's
yeah, and it is quite
a lot
isolated.
of out-of-towners living there at any one time, probably. As opposed to just a... Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. Yeah. It's a weird one. So with the type of real estate that you do, what's the price range that you usually target?
Well, I guess I sort of sell a lot of houses sort of in the 600 to 800 sort of range.
Because Hamilton's house prices are going up quite dramatically.
Yeah, and I've kind of tried to shy away from working the sort of investment market. Not shied away, but it hasn't been my focus.
Well, I think that's like Kiwis.
Because it probably sounds a bit terrible, but for me, there's not the same attraction of doing open homes and, investment properties. So I've sort of prospected, because we get our business through sort of what we do. So I've always kind of spent more energy and stuff sort of prospecting the higher level of property out.
Yeah.
And I've probably had a bit of luck as well that sort of most of my listings have been sort of $700,000-$800,000 houses.
But because obviously when someone wants to sell their house and they come to you, they're like, we want this price.
Yeah. So
are you usually are they usually like bang on, or are you usually like, no, you'll get less or you'll get more?
Well, we sort of. Yeah, I guess.
And how do you even work it out as well?
Yeah, so I guess so generally that we do an appraisal, right? So when someone sells their house, if it's a lead through like a duty, as I mentioned before, when they've put you in competition, and sometimes you might meet someone at an open home, or so last week I had an inquiry off a listing that I'd just brought on the market.
Yeah.
I actually missed out on that listing to a Lugden's agent, so I'm looking forward to seeing who that is. But and he said ironically, "Oh, you told me to go with the person that you trust the most."
Yeah.
So I went with my friend or colleague who works with Lugden's, and I was thinking, and when you hear that, you kind of just think, oh, they're just wasting your time in the first place. They just want to get a second opinion on price. They're always going to list with their mate.
Yeah.
Indian guy. And Indians tend to sort of work with Indians and sort of...
I'm in a relationship with one. I know how they roll.
Okay. And they have their big sort of networks of family and whatever. So, that was off a phone call, and he had a lodge Lugden's and myself look at his house.
Yeah.
And so what do you think it's worth? And so his situation was he was building through I can't remember who through, but a local building company. So he'd bought a section, was building, GJ's or something like that. So he needed X amount for his house in order to, make that one work out.
Yeah.
So he was sort of saying he needed this amount of money, which was probably to the higher end maybe of what it was worth. So we'll give a range based on what's sold in the area. So say, for example, you got a 4-bedroom house in Rototuna.
Yeah.
Which is the standard. There's going to be another 10,000, exactly the same. Well, 5,000, however many houses there are.
Is that homes.co.nz website accurate?
There's a few different algorithms out there.
Like how do they work?
So they kind of work on the same sort of theory as us, but they use less nous, I guess. Sort of human stuff that a computer can't replicate. Because all that looks at is stats, right?
Oh, okay, right.
So it will compare houses in the area to houses with similar features, 4-bedroom, 200 squares, 600 square section, whatever the house is, which is that's just sort of average.
Okay.
And the rate, so it'll take into ratings, for example, and they might have an equation for how they've worked out the value is, it's 6% less than CV or more, or there might be some other way. They all kind of work differently.
Yeah.
But they don't take in those sometimes you get two houses in the same street with 100,000 difference in CV, and all else is quite similar. And you think, how the hell is their CV so much higher?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's sometimes just because that person's complained your CV is too low, which you can do and get it reevaluated. Or it might be on a gully, or it might be next to something which could add value, but not 100,000. So,
is it usually lower or higher?
Oh, it depends when, because they update the CV every 3 years, so it just depends where you are in the market cycle.
Okay.
Okay. And then sometimes the CV might be exactly the same on two houses next to each other, right? But the algorithm doesn't know that one of them's a rental and one of them's had 50,000, 100,000 spent on outdoor living and landscaping and new kitchen, and you look at
Is there certain things that get spent on a house that actually don't actually add that much value to it? Like, what's the main things that add value to a house? Like kitchen, bathroom.
If stuff really needs it, like if it needs a new roof, it might flow between the cracks sometimes, but then sometimes it might cost you 30 grand because everyone who looks at the house says, "Oh, the roof is fucked. We're going to." My English.
No, that's all good. You can swear on here.
And so then, they reduce their price 30 grand because they've got to buy a new roof. So stuff that really needs to be done, you just do it because it's a part of being a homeowner, and it might buy you a house. And getting certs when you do stuff. Certs. Like permits.
Oh, right.
So if you've done something which needs a permit, don't try and hide it and then sell your house and think, no one's going to tell. Because some people do that.
Yeah.
And it's like, here's a bathroom that's not permanent, it's got this, it's not permanent, and then price goes. Because then the buyer knows that they have to either fix all that stuff or get a cert for it, and they don't know if stuff needs to be fixed. That could be why it doesn't have a cert, because it's got dodgy wiring.
Would you ever get a person, though, that, someone sells a house with no permit for something that was done, and then the person buys it, and then they sell it with no permit, and then it just keeps on, like a compounding effect?
No, it's pretty hard to get away with it because we check the building plans and stuff because we don't want to get in the shit. And if we haven't disclosed that there's an issue and someone buys it, that falls on us.
Yeah.
So we have to know our stuff. So if you go to council and you see that all that's at council is the original building plan from 1906. So the hard thing is that it wasn't a requirement to keep permits and stuff until I think 1992.
Okay.
So stuff between that period is a bit of a grey area sometimes, and sort of people have the mentality that, you don't know whether it's got all cert or not, so don't worry about it. But that's sort of going back 30 years now, so a lot of stuff has been redone. So if there's been something that you're like, looks like there's a modification done in the 1980s, we can't tell if it's been permitted or not. We have to disclose that.
Right.
And sort of most people were like, fair enough. We're going to renovate it anyway, so it's not a big deal. And usually it's a do-up. So sort of price takes, if it doesn't, we just have to disclose it, and then market dictates what something's worth.
What about...
But if we sell something we know's been modified without a permit, and then it sells, and they find out, and they find out that we knew, we get in the shit. So that's why there's all this loss. Because you just want to sell it, and there's been real estate agents in Auckland who have sold stuff they knew they knew there was a motorway being built next to it.
What if there's a permit, but it's not on the plans, like on the building plans?
So that means it's been done since the original building plans.
Yeah.
So all you need is a certificate that it's been signed off from council.
Okay.
And say 1994 new bathroom. Oh yeah. Tick, because they've got that paperwork. It might not have the plan change or something like that, or it might not require a plan change. So we'll try and look at the original floor plan to see what the house was when it was built, and then we can tell obviously if something's changed.
Does a garage add much to a house?
Yeah. Most people buying a house want a garage. Yeah. Some investors won't care because they know they're just going to chuck a tenant in it.
What do investors look for when they're buying a house?
Sort of value for money, I guess.
Yeah? In terms of the return, I suppose, on
so
what they're paying.
You get sort of investor developers who do a bit of both, who sometimes might have plans to... So they might rent it out for 5 years until they can demolish it, and then build an might build apartments or something on it.
Yeah, well, I've started to see that already. And I mean, I'm originally from Auckland, and every time I go back up there, there's like a space that's converted into like 5 townhouses.
Because they know that land value is eventually going to get to a point where it's worth more to them to develop it. And in the meantime, they're happy to take rental return if it's better than. So 5% yield is sort of the lowest that people generally go for.
Yeah.
Although for a new house, they might take less yield because it's a brand new house, so they know they're not going to have to spend any money on maintenance or anything for a long time, and they just get that income coming in. And then they know that rents will slowly go up, their mortgage is going to drop, so then the equation works out better. And if they've already got heaps of equity in their house and stuff, it's not such a big deal. But people who buy a lot of investment properties, they'll generally look for yield. So they might have, some people want 6%, some people might want 8%, because it depends on interest rates as well. When interest rates are low, you can squeeze it more, but if interest rates go up, then that changes the whole equation. So potential to make more value out of what you buy, whether it's a renovation or knocking it down, building something new, renting that out or selling it. Some people look for flicks, something they can buy.
Yeah, I've seen some of those in like the media.
Spend 50 grand on it or spend 10 grand on it. If they think they're getting a bargain and they can add value and sell it for more and make money, then they might have a 2 or 3 month turnaround. So they might only want to make 20 grand, 30 grand on the property, but because they've done it in 2 months, and it depends how many projects they've got going at once. And I don't really work that part of the market so much, because that's a lot of established agents who have had relationships with these people for years.
Do you want to do that at some point?
Well, to be honest, as I said before, I sort of prefer to do, I guess, the family home sort of market is more sort of what I've tried to.
Yeah. So how do you apply, because you have a master's degree in marketing?
Yeah.
How do you apply that to real estate? Like, what's the difference between you and all the other real estate agents? Because you have a master's degree in marketing, and they probably don't.
I'm better at marketing.
Well, yeah, obviously.
but that's sort of why I chose real estate, was because I sort of just thought, it's just marketing houses. I didn't know the intricacies of the industry. It's more of a sales job. So the people who are really good at real estate are really good salespeople, who are generally shit at marketing, because they're two very different things. People put sales and marketing in the same category.
They're not the same thing at all.
No, because sales is just one little aspect of marketing. So marketing is, so if you use like the fisherman analogy, they sort of say, that the wider your, bigger your net, the farther you can throw it, the more fish you catch.
Yeah, right.
So marketing.
The more people you reach,
the higher your chance of catching more fish.
The better the outcome.
Yeah. And then salesman is like the fisherman who stabs the fish. It makes the sale. I don't know, maybe it's a weird analogy, but so the sales is just getting it across the line, so turning the lead into a sale. So it's hard to do anything that different really in real estate, because everything we do is put through and you could have the worst marketing in the world, and it's going to go on realestate.co.nz. Someone's going to see it, and they're going to turn up to your open home. If they like the house, they're going to buy it.
Yeah.
So sometimes it can make a difference if you've got a difficult house to sell. You might find that buyer.
But I notice you use social media quite a bit.
Yeah, so that's been more for a personal profile tool, because personal brand. So I use sort of LinkedIn more as a personal brand, and I put the houses on there, but.
Well, you
don't get a lot of inbound leads through LinkedIn for a house.
No. But people know who you are.
Yeah.
You're like the guy.
But I sort of, but
I don't want to inflate your ego too much.
Yeah, to an extent, and that's what I tried to achieve, I guess. So basically, real estate is it's like a sales job, okay? And I have never been that interested in having a sales job. I've never really worked I've had the odd sales job, but never. So the really successful real estate agents are not necessarily cutthroat salespeople, but the people who like love it. You know, those people who just love sales.
Well, part of
and
the
they'll
reason
knock on doors all day, and they'll make 200 phone calls a day.
But some of them are pushy, which I don't like.
But that's.
But they have to do that.
But you're one of 1,000 prospects. They know that they can call the next guy. They don't care about building relationships and.
Which you do.
Yeah, see that doesn't excite me to make 50 phone calls a day from.
That'd be tedious.
Prospects, yeah. So
and boring, and you might get abused.
Yeah. Occasionally, it's never as bad as you think it's going to be. When you sit down and call people, more often than not, they're friendly. But for me, it was kind of hard to get out of that mind fuck because I hate salespeople. Like I walk, there's people selling stuff, in the street trying to get you to sign up to Kids in Africa, and
hate it.
Some of them are really pushy, and people in malls selling. There was some of them selling makeup and stuff for a while. You walk down and some good-looking Middle Eastern woman would come over and try and sell you. I can't remember what the brand was called, but they actually got in trouble because of their hardcore approaches. That the girls would just get in your face and were obviously flirty and trying to sign you up for the $80 make skin cream and stuff like that.
Works on the week.
Yeah, exactly. So that's been something I've tried to avoid. So that's why I sort of did LinkedIn. And a lot of agents, when I first started doing it, like, fuck, why is he always on LinkedIn? Just go make some phone calls. And so for me, it was kind of a test of whether I could use marketing to become well-known. And so I think it has
LinkedIn
worked. LinkedIn was only in the very sort of early stage of becoming popular. Like, in the last 3 or 4 years, it's come a long way.
Totally.
Since video came. So video wasn't even on LinkedIn back then. So I've been on LinkedIn since about 2010. So when it was originally, I used it as like an information tool when I was doing. So I heard it came out because Facebook was huge. I was like, what's this LinkedIn thing? Oh, it's like an online CV. I might as well, because I was just finishing my degree.
Yeah.
It's like, I might as well go on there. But then I noticed you could, noticed you could look for articles about stuff. It was like a sort of an article hub. This thing called LinkedIn Pulse, where how you can
I've seen some of your articles. I saw your recent one on the Te Awa Lakes.
The lakes, right? Yeah. So LinkedIn used to be just articles and CVs. So the homepage literally was just articles of stuff, and you could search for marketing articles and and then they moved away from that more into hardcore networking. I guess it wasn't really taking off.
Well, it's taken on a similar approach
more
to
of a
like
niche
Facebook
market.
and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So once it became more like Facebook, but for professional people. So that's how I sort of refer to it, like LinkedIn for professional people without the cat photos and family shit.
Yeah.
No offense to people who like posting millions of family stuff.
If people want to do that, they want to do that.
But for me, it was far more interesting for me to be on LinkedIn than it was on Facebook.
Yeah, well, you're quite active on that.
And I just sort of thought, well, that sort of developed over time. So I was sort of, I guess, one of the early people locally to be posting content. Like Chris Simpson was another one.
Yeah.
And he's not way more famous than me.
Famous.
We all aspire to be Chris Simpson. So that was sort of a thing for me. I sort of just thought one day, if I was choosing a real estate agent, what characteristics would I be looking for? And I sort of thought, number one, someone who understands the local market and what's sort of happening in the city.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, I'll start posting content about what's happening in Hamilton. And it just did really well. Like I had my first sort of post that got over 100 likes. I think it got like 150, 200 likes or something like that. And then and this was back when you could get mega reach. It's sort of cut back over the last couple of years because there's a lot more active people. Yeah. So you don't stand out as much. But I had some posts that had like 50, 100,000 views, and I just thought, I mean, a lot of them obviously from overseas or Auckland, and like there was one I did about the rail when the news first came out about the rail network between Hamilton and Auckland.
Well, it's part of a larger machine, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah. The commuter rail. So when was first announced about the commuter, I think it was just a proposal at that stage. I think it was before Labour came in and actually took it on board.
Yeah, well, Labour are more for public transport than National.
So it was literally, I saw an article about this new Hamilton-Auckland commuter rail, read the article, took snippets of information out, turned it into a post, which is just what I do. So there's no rocket science to sort of what I do
just
on
take
LinkedIn.
The good bits.
So that was my strategy to start with, was just what's happening in Hamilton. Google every few days Hamilton or Waikato. Oh, that's an interesting article. People want to know about that. I'm a good writer. I've written a thesis. I was always a good writer in school, and I've dialed it down because writing a thesis is fucking hard work. So I'm a good writer. I seem to just, and I've just managed to, I can condense that article, take the most, exciting things out and put it into a LinkedIn post.
Yeah.
And the idea was and originally I just wanted to send people to my website.
Yeah. Okay.
So I had a little article, so I stole the article, literally copy and paste, put it on my website, put the source, linked it back to stuff or wherever I stole it from, and then put that little teaser on LinkedIn and then sent people to my website. Because I thought, they'll look at my website, see the houses I've got for sale, might follow my mailing list, which no one ever really did. They'd just read the article and then that's it. I sort of looked at the analytics and no one was looking at anything else. I was like, damn it. And then I realised LinkedIn was just taking off. So it was like, it
seems like a lot of people still don't know about LinkedIn in terms of how it can be used.
Yeah, I think it's sort of slowly coming through, and there's a lot of people sort of popping up as LinkedIn coaches or whatever they want to call themselves.
Yeah.
But for me, LinkedIn always kind of made sense because I'm a marketer. Like before, there was all these LinkedIn gurus and stuff. For what I done was just sort of basic marketing.
Yeah.
Relationship marketing. So relationship marketing was something that was coming out was sort of popular in the literature just when I was doing my degree. It was like the next thing.
Yeah.
So it was away from just advertising and stuff to actually building relationships with your clients and then having a customer for life as opposed to just the next sale. Because marketing was very when it was really primitive, it was just like, make the sale.
Yeah.
To as many people as you can, and who cares about relationships because there's plenty of other people out there to sell to. But then it sort of moved into relationship marketing. So I read a lot of literature around that, and that was just the social media and websites and stuff was coming on. So I sort of read a bit of stuff, and then sort of that's what I incorporated into LinkedIn. And I guess that's where the LinkedIn local thing came from. Was just
because that's actually pretty cool. Like I've been meaning to go for quite a while. I'll be going to this one, the one in November. Yeah. But I've seen like your little videos and stuff that you've done. It's pretty cool.
No, they are very cool. So
I'm wondering if someone's going to steal your idea though.
Oh well, what do you mean?
Like is this a thing in other parts of the country?
Yeah. So have you not seen the other ones? Yeah, no, it's okay.
Okay, so this isn't an original idea of yours. You just stole it from someone else.
Yeah.
Good man.
Well. Okay, so this was sort of another real estate thing, actually, where it came from. So my LinkedIn strategy originally was just post Hamilton content.
Yeah.
Talk to people, be friendly, build relationships. And I was interested in LinkedIn stuff because I like to learn. I've always been a learner. So for me, I loved going on LinkedIn and learning about stuff. And that's sort of been a personal thing that I maybe have ranted about one or two too many times, and I sort of get offside of some people because I'm very honest and I'll just give my opinions on stuff. But sort of for me, I don't like some aspects of what LinkedIn's turned into. It's turned
in terms of what?
Very narcissistic. It's sort of a lot of people come onto the platform and sharing content just to be famous. Whereas I went
social media platform.
Whereas where I came from when it was lots of informational stuff. That's what interested me. That's why I was on the platform. That's sort of what I was creating. And then it just turned into everyone doing a video of their face telling you trying to just be inspirational, motivational, or, just some of that stuff. I'm just like, I'd like some more informational stuff rather than just YouTube, sort of YouTube-y, Facebook-y content. And the algorithm is very good on LinkedIn. So that's why all this more sort of social media type stuff has come in, because people have realised, shit, there's huge reach and potential on this platform.
How do you, because how does the algorithm work on LinkedIn? Like, how do you find out how the algorithm works? Do you just Google it?
You can Google different articles and stuff, and it's kind of changed over the years. And, for trial and error, you sort of work out what works. And
what doesn't. Yeah.
So that's another thing, like the mega tagging, which I've commented on a few times. And, the people who do that don't like it, just they're like, I'm not that guy's friend anymore. Someone might do a post and then tag 100 people in it.
Yeah, well, that's annoying. I hate it when people do it on Facebook. Yes. They tag me in something, I'm like, dude, I have no involvement in this.
Yeah, exactly. And that's sort of and because I was starting to get well known, I started getting tagged and stuff from people I've never even talked to, or I don't even know who they are sometimes. I'm like, why is this person tagging me? And it's nothing I'm interested in.
Can you untag a tag?
No. And then you can click on notifications to no longer follow that post. So then if someone comments, you don't get all the notifications. So because for me it got to a point where, I've got a job. I've got a couple of jobs, and a life. And for me it became quite a burden to be just all these notifications I was getting at one point of people just endless stuff.
Yeah.
And I think people kind of got the picture a couple of times. I was like, man, I hate getting tagged and stuff. And it kind of stopped. And so that's good. Yeah. Because some people make their living out of LinkedIn, so they live on it. And so they just embrace that whole influencer, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Just trying to constantly drive engagement. And you do it through commenting. So if you comment on something, so likes and comments push. So I'm not sure if it works exactly the same anymore, but basically within the first few minutes or half an hour or whatever, the algorithm reads how much the initial engagement is. So it might send your post out to 5% of your connections.
Right.
Or 2%. Or just the ones who regularly engage.
Yeah.
So then if there's that original engagement, it pushes out to a higher proportion of your base. Or if you've used a hashtag, more people who follow that hashtag, or if someone comments on it there.
Yeah.
How sometimes in your feed, one of your connections has commented or liked a certain post, and then it comes up on your feed. So then it keeps reading the engagement in the original. So after an hour, if it's like getting heaps of engagement, I might send it out even further. So that original going viral is, for lack of a better word, is essential for its eventual push.
Yeah.
So if you post something, so I could post the same post at 11 o'clock. I used to be really particular about this. I'd only post at certain times. Now it's just too hard.
Well, if you're real busy.
Then yeah. And because you can't set a timer on LinkedIn posts like you can with Facebook.
Can you? I didn't
you might be able to do it through like some social media app or something, but I don't use anything like that. I just post it straight to LinkedIn.
Do you only use LinkedIn primarily?
A little bit of Facebook, like I used to use Facebook, but then,
you don't use Instagram or anything?
Oh, I've got a personal Instagram.
But you don't use it to sell houses?
I used to use it quite a bit, but I didn't. And I've got a few followers and stuff on there, but I haven't posted on there for a while because I was starting to become a bit wanky and doing the Instagram-y thing, and like it makes me cringe a little bit, to be honest. And then I was sort of thinking, and I didn't get anything out of it, like I wasn't getting any inquiries or leads, and I just thought, fuck, it's just a waste of time.
Yeah.
And I don't use LinkedIn or Facebook so much anymore because just heaps of real estate agents are using Facebook, and when they killed organic reach, you just have to pay for any reach you get on Facebook.
Yeah, that's right.
And then I get so much more reach on LinkedIn, and it's free, so it's like, why not focus my energy in this market? Because there wasn't really anyone doing what I was doing so I did stand out. There's still not that many real estate agents doing anything on LinkedIn or much on LinkedIn. But I think because of, it's been to the detriment of being an agent, some of the stuff that I do, because I get more well known for being the LinkedIn local guy. It's like, you're a real estate agent. Because I don't push the real estate.
Well, to be honest, I knew you as the LinkedIn local guy.
Yeah.
And then I did a bit of digging. I'm like, he's a real estate guy. But the funny thing was, once I started looking into you as a real estate agent, all the stuff kept popping up on my feed about you, about real estate posts from you, on both LinkedIn and Facebook.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's something to do with that. Yeah,
it's interesting how that.
How it all works.
Because Facebook, I think, reads a lot of stuff off Google. So if you looked at my website, you probably started appearing on Facebook. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. Oh, okay. And so do you always want to do real estate, or do you want to do something afterwards where you're not sure?
Yeah,
because obviously you ran a business, so you know a bit about business.
Yeah, well, I teach marketing part-time at Wintec as well, and mentor some students on like the research projects. But that's just that was just one. I did a management paper this semester. So my undergraduate was management and marketing. I taught like an organizational paper this semester. And I'm kind of always doing little things on the side. Like I try and be a full-time real estate agent, but at times it can be quite slow.
So you're doing real estate and you're mentoring at Wintec, and you're trying to run these LinkedIn local.
Yeah, LinkedIn local, and I don't even get paid like anything. It can be, and that's the thing. Like it's, how
long does it take to just organise one event? Because you have to organise a venue. Obviously, you've got catering.
Yeah, well, I don't. Yeah, it depends.
You have to get the word out.
Yeah, so a lot of time goes into promotion and stuff, which is why I say, because I do all this other stuff, it's to the detriment of my real estate business sometimes, because a lot of the business that you do in real estate, so I'll always have 1 or 2 or 3 listings which I can work.
Yeah.
This
is like a little side hobby.
Because when you've only got a handful of listings, 1 or 2 or 3 listings, or sometimes I've had more, but which, I've got to 10 listings before I had 10, 12 listings. God, that takes over your life. So, but when you've got 2 or 3, it's manageable because you're not doing stuff all day. You're just getting the inquiries and you're doing the open homes and you're doing sort of behind the scenes stuff. So a lot of your time in real estate is spent prospecting for more business. Yeah. So that's all the phone calls. Some people might door knock. A lot of people just, they might call 50 people a day. Oh, have you bought a house? Oh, what are you doing? You got a house to sell. Oh, you had someone to come look at it. So the more conversations you're having of that, obviously, the more business you're going to do. Yeah. So, doing a LinkedIn local fucking takes up a lot of time. So I can't do some of that phone calling for business kind of prospecting. So then, so event to event, so this last event, it's just, so I booked in the date and the time when sometimes I've approached speakers first, but because I've been planning this with the university for a while, and they said, do it in the Performing Arts Centre. I thought, shit, that's a good venue. And it's quite a busy venue, so it's not easy just to do it at any time. So I said, hey, can I do it on one of these dates? Because I usually do it on a Wednesday night because that seems to be a night that people can do. Yeah. As opposed to Friday or a Monday, generally busy nights, and sometimes Tuesdays and Thursday's a busy night with events and stuff. So Wednesday seems to hit the sweet spot. Yeah. That people can turn up on a Wednesday. So I just said, hey, what Wednesdays have you got? Oh, this is the only one we can do. Sweet, lock it in before someone else does. And I'll worry about the other details later. Yeah. So then I approached, and I didn't have a theme at that point, I think. So then I thought about a theme, went with like growth theme, and I started approaching people. And because I hadn't researched, because I didn't even have a theme at the time and hadn't done any research, it was on the same night as the Deloitte's Fast 50 Awards in Auckland. So that's the Fast 50, I think it's called Fast 50, so it's the national awards. So they have the regional awards. Yeah. So the fastest growing businesses all go to the national awards from who win the regionals, and they, go up on the stage. Woo, you're doing well. Yeah. So anyway, a couple of businesses who I approached, who I was thinking of, because I've talked to them before and it hadn't worked out date-wise, but they said, yeah, we're keen to do it. They were going to the the Deloitte's Awards in Auckland. I was like, oh, trash. So then, and there was, other things, other people had other commitments they had to do. So I had to approach heaps of speakers. Yeah. Before I've actually locked in my 4 speakers now. Oh, wow. So that's a lot more time than that usually takes. Sometimes the first 4 people I talk to, yeah, sweet, and we're done, Yeah. And then sometimes if I've got to find more sponsorship. So university agreed to sponsor the event as well. So my venue and my sponsor were already sorted from the get-go. Oh, okay. Where from the last event, which I did at Zeelong, the venue were keen to go, but then it was going to be really expensive to run compared to normal, because they're going to do their Zeelong quality, because they do like their high tea stuff has got expense. Their catering costs are quite a lot higher than what I've done previously, because literally I've just got for a few events where they don't have a venue caterer. Mm-hmm. I've just called an external caterer to come drop everything off, and they've given me a good deal. It's been like $1,000 for the catering. and I've been lucky that Ash from 8 p.m.
Oh, yes.
has been really good sponsor, and he's done the drinks at a few events. So it's just been, Ash has helped me out heaps, which has been really cool. And I've sort of used one caterer, I think, for 3 or 4 events, and she's given me a pretty good deal on the number that we do for the catering, and she brings it in and drops it off. So it's been good. So then I've done a couple of events where it's been Montana has been the caterer, and I've managed to get a half price deal on the catering for one of those. Because I happen to know one of the directors' wives from the gym.
Oh, true.
Which I didn't even know for a long time.
Yeah.
And like one day she mentioned it, and I was like, "Oh, husband works at Montana." And she's like, "Yeah, he's one of the directors." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." Never would have thought.
Yeah. Well, everyone's connected here, eh?
Yeah. So they did me a really good deal. And then so the last event was way more expensive than anything I'd run before, and I was worried I wouldn't be able to do it. And then I got a couple of sponsors at $2,500 each who paid for the catering.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Yeah. Whereas sometimes, usually because it's been sort of $1,500, $2,000 an event, I've sort of split it up over sort of $300 to $500 sponsorships, and then had, maybe 5 or 6 sponsors.
Would you ever want to get to a point where you can make money out of this?
I don't think I can. I mean, I could start an event.
That's very genuine of you. Yep. To accept that.
Yeah. I mean, I guess everything in business is about how you make money out of it, but I guess for me...
I mean, I don't make money out of this. I would like to make money out of this.
You do it because you like it. I guess you enjoy it. So for me, it's a creative outlet. I'm a marketer.
Yeah.
And that's why I went into real estate. It's like, I can just do my marketing. And so it's a creative outlet for me to be a marketer. I'm good at running events, apparently. When I was a student, I was on the student committee, and I did events there. It was just like barbecues and really small scale stuff. But, they seemed to run all right, never fucked anything up. But then, literally when I came up with the idea to do a LinkedIn Local, I'd never run an event like this. I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just like, do an Eventbrite page, get some speakers.
But then I suppose with each one, you kind of learn more and you make them better.
And I've worked out that actually I can, and because people come, I guess, it does really well. So
how many went to the last one? Sorry.
I think it's hard to know because you do the door, and then people doing the door want to come and enjoy the event, so they only do the door for a certain amount of time, and then all the people who arrive later, you're really not sure there. But I think the last one I had, including the speakers and the sponsors who were there, and all the names that were ticked off, it was about 160. But there was probably a little bit more. But it's always hard to know 100%.
Yeah.
But generally, all the events have been between 100 and then one of them was probably close to 300.
Okay.
At the atrium at Wintec, that big space there.
Yeah.
I think I did 350 tickets for that.
Okay.
And generally, it's about 80-90% turnout.
Yep.
As I say, it's hard to know, exactly what it is, but. Back to the original LinkedIn Local, because I think that's where we were sort of going earlier.
Yeah.
So so it was just, I had a conversation with a real estate agent one day, and I wasn't getting a lot of leads coming in, even though, people were liking my posts on LinkedIn and stuff. It didn't really bring me leads, which was always, because you get just known for LinkedIn, and when people do real estate business with a real estate agent they've dealt with previously, or who they sold the neighbour's house or sold their friend's house, that's how you get your business, is through doing the business.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was talking to an agent, and he's like, he was new to the industry, and he had got a few listings come in. He was like, mate, I just catch up with a friend a couple of times a week, sit down, have a beer, and just say, hey, who do you know who's selling a house? Just do it that way, because he just said he didn't really like the phone calls and all that stuff as well. And I thought, yeah, man, I need to do more of that. So I started having coffees with the odd person off LinkedIn, just to have like, hey, nice to meet you, and this is at a house. But I'm never that good at that conversation, because for me it's not a natural sales conversation. It's more just having a catch up, and I'm like, someone who wants to sell. Whereas salespeople who just live and die of sales, like that's the first thing they ask.
Yeah, that's right.
Those people and the people in the industry who they make all the money and they work 100-hour weeks, you know.
Oh, insane hours.
Basically, that top tier of agents are the ones who work all day and they love it. So anyway, I thought, man, there's got to be an easier way than this, just one coffee a week. And I thought, how about if I got all these people on LinkedIn in a room at once? I can meet more of them.
Yeah.
And I remembered seeing this LinkedIn local thing, which a mate, Ryan the Lion, you may be familiar with. He's an Auckland guy, quite well known on LinkedIn as well.
Yeah.
Calls himself the Lion. So he did a LinkedIn local Auckland.
Okay.
And so it had started in Australia not that long before that.
Right.
So literally a lady, same idea as me, hey, you know, she just posted on LinkedIn one day, you know, do you guys want to catch up I'd like to meet some LinkedIn connections. Does everyone want to come down and have a coffee this time, this place? Similar to how I do my, you know, monthly coffee, but she hashtagged it LinkedIn local.
Okay.
And that just was obviously, you know, sometimes a brand is the deciding factor. It can just be perfect.
Yeah.
And LinkedIn totally. Was just taking off, and obviously it was kind of like obvious what it kind of meant. And anyway, someone, I think it was, I did an article about the LinkedIn local story. So but yeah, someone in like New York and someone in London, I think someone in Paris. Okay. Who was like a second degree connection or something had seen, because you got about 15, 20 people turn up to her coffee and then did a post, and some people saw the post and saw the hashtag and thought, oh, that's cool. And then so they did a LinkedIn, so they brought it to their cities. And so it was just like that snowball effect.
Yeah.
More people saw it, you know, same as I saw Ryan do one in Auckland. And I thought, hey, what was that LinkedIn local thing that I saw? And I'd commented on it saying, hey, you should bring one to Hamilton or something, I think. Anyway, I messaged him about it. Hey, what was that LinkedIn local? And he sort of told me a bit about it and got me in contact with the lady in Australia who started it out. And basically there was no rules or anything to it. You're not officially endorsed by LinkedIn. Nothing like that. It was just a brand, which LinkedIn actually took over in the end because it was getting big and a lot of people were starting to do co-branding and stuff. So LinkedIn wanted it to be sure that you know, put some rules in place that you can't do co-branding because obviously it looks like there's an affiliation with LinkedIn and like all these random.
Yeah, fair enough.
So it really just took off around the world. And I was the first one after Auckland. And then Ryan only did one, or I think he did 2 events, and then a couple of other people took over. And they haven't had the same success and turnout that we've had in Hamilton. They've struggled a bit for turnout.
Wonder why that is.
Well, I think a lot of it's to do with being a big city with a lot of traffic, and then
well, that's
so
true.
it's not as convenient.
Bit of a mission.
It's not, So it's not like Hamilton where you can drive 10, 15, 20 minutes max and you'll be there, and there's like hardly any traffic.
Yeah.
You know, in Auckland you could be stuck in half an hour's traffic and then get there an hour's late and just think, bugger it, go home or whatever. So I've always kind of thought that if they did an Auckland CBD and just did a really CBD themed
oriented,
and then so people who can walk in from the offices and just sign, and then maybe 1 or 2 in the burbs, which they've done now. There's a North Shore one.
Well, you wouldn't be able to just do one. You'd have to divide it into
like a South
1
Auckland.
to 3. Yeah.
So there's one on the North Shore now, which does all right. And there's been, I think one maybe in Tauranga. 1 or 2, or there was an idea to do one, and there's been a couple in Rotorua. I've seen there's a Hawke's Bay one. I don't think I've ever spoken to whoever's doing that, or they might have spoken to me once. But I had a few people approach me and ask me for advice and stuff because they saw my one.
Yeah.
So I've kept in contact with a few of them. Queenstown, I think we're looking at doing one.
Would that be
Wellington? Wellington had a couple that did really well.
Queenstown's a more touristy town, though, so I'm not sure if it would work.
No, I kind of thought there was a... But no, he was keen to do it, and it sort of just takes one keen person who drives it.
Yeah.
And Wellington had a good turnout. They did a couple of breakfasts. And and they got a pretty good turnout to their ones. But the people haven't carried on doing it. Nelson did a couple. I think they're doing another one. Or Tasman. I think they call it Tasman. Christchurch has done.
People should go. Like there'll be what we need to say is people who are listening or watching, go to the one that's close to you.
Yeah, but
they're all around the country.
A lot of them aren't really going anymore. That's the thing.
Well, someone listening to this should start one in their area.
They haven't done that well. Comparatively, I think some business models haven't worked so much.
Well, you must be doing something right.
Yeah, well, that's what I figure, but I try and put my finger.
I hope I haven't jinxed it now.
No. Well, some of them have charged because they haven't been able to get sponsors and stuff, and then they've just done it at a local bar, and I think that hasn't worked as much.
No, that won't work.
I think for mine, part of the reason why is because I've moved it. So the first couple of venues were, so I had it at Harcourt's first, and then had it at Rico, which wasn't very exciting. But then ever since then, so we've had a different venue every time, and then I've had a lot of cool venues like Claudelands.
Well, you wouldn't want to do it at like a bar, though.
No, well, that's what I always thought.
It's not the type of environment to do that.
No. And some people have, and I think that may be part of the reason why.
Like, if it's held at a bar, I'd be like, nah, not keen, eh?
Yeah.
And because bars...
Because then they charge as well. So for me, I was like, we've got to keep it out of the bar, because then you can bring your own person and do it cheaper.
Yeah.
It's not rocket science.
Yeah. Oh, cool, man. I might wrap up there, dude. Unless there's anything else you want to talk about. No. I did see that you did a post on basketball about how there's more funding in schools for basketball than rugby. Well, you posted... No, I don't think you said it. I think you linked to some article that said it.
Oh.
Because I'm guessing you're into basketball.
Yeah, no, I love my NBA. I'm excited the season's just recently started.
Yeah.
Was this quite a while ago?
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, no,
I did pretty much stalk you. So.
Oh, did you? Yeah. No, because if you were friends with me on Facebook, you'd see that like pretty much the only thing I comment on is like all the NBA pages.
Well, I think I went on your Facebook feed and
saw a couple of basketball things.
The stuff that's public maybe.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Well, basketball's actually got a higher participation rate with males in high school than rugby does now.
I wonder if Stephen Adams has a part to play in that.
No funding.
I just had a guy on last week who is an up and coming MMA guy. He actually trains with like Israel Adesanya,
right.
Carlos Hicks, and like MMA is another thing that doesn't really get much funding. And like the champion of the world, like is a Kiwi
and
guy.
A few prominent people as well.
Yeah, so I imagine like the funding because so there's a professor in sports sociology.
Because it's not an Olympic sport. And
no, but it will be at some stage, I guarantee it.
And that's where all the funding goes. Like rowing, like it's so much money.
I had Professor Holly Thorpe. She's a sports sociologist, but she's actually on the board for the International Olympic Committee.
Yeah.
And she actually made some valid points about how sport is never fair because it's all based on funding, right? In some countries, there's more funding than others.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, true, that's valid. And she was saying about Olympics and how it's declining in viewership. And they're looking at bringing in...
Oh, is that?
Yeah, it is. So most people who watch it are 55 and over.
Really? Fuck, I love watching Olympics.
Yeah. But I think it's because young people... Like, they're talking about bringing esports into the Olympics. Like video games.
To bring that cinema. Yeah, because I guess, Yeah,
like breakdancing is becoming part of the Olympics in 2024, apparently. Like she was, like, blowing my mind when she was on here. If anyone hasn't watched it, just even use the timestamps if you have to, but go listen to some of the stuff she says. It's crazy, mind-blowing stuff about sports. Yeah.
Cool.
I just dropped a bomb on you there.
Yeah. I have to look her up now.
Yeah. Cool. So if anyone wants to get a hold of you to sell a house or buy a house.
Yeah.
Where's the best place to contact you? Just Harcourt's?
027 349 1873. Most people tend to...
Whoa, okay, mobile number.
Most people tend to like to talk to you over the phone with houses. But, my website, Daniel Hopper-Harcourts.co.nz, I think.
All right, well, if it's wrong...
Or just look me up on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I'll post the best ways to contact him on the YouTube channel.
I don't often tell people to go to my website because people just on LinkedIn is just happy to hang out on LinkedIn. Yeah,
fair enough. And then obviously if you want to come to the LinkedIn local event, when is it on? November
13. So
November 13. And if you can't make it to that, then where's the best way to keep up to date with the upcoming LinkedIn local events afterwards? Okay, so if keen to check out Hamilton Growth
or growth is the theme, and there's some really cool local business people. Anna Stredden, she's pretty well known.
Yeah.
Fashion designer. She's got like stores all across the country.
Okay.
She'll be there amongst 3 other local business people. The Distillery, so they're actually they hosted an event.
Oh, right. Okay.
So they're a big IT company who are in Auckland, and they've come down here. And they're now based out of Sky City, which where we had the event there. Yes. And they are now a joint venture. Well, I think they might have brought out a company or something anyway. But now they've got their 2 businesses in one, and they've got like 200 staff. So Mike Jenkins, he'll be speaking from them. Bill Neal, who started Sweet As Popcorn.
Sweet As Popcorn? I don't even know what that is.
Don't you? You're not up with it. Yeah, see,
neither did I. I'm getting old.
Neither did I until I heard about them. I think I read something that they were growing heaps and stuff, and I looked them up, and I thought, oh yeah. And now wherever I go, I notice that it's Sweet As Popcorn.
All right.
Like you'll see it now.
I'll look up Sweet As Popcorn.
Yeah, no, next time you're at the movies, you'll be like, oh, there it is.
Yeah.
They have it at the movies.
And then I'll message you.
Pretty much the only popcorn at Pack and Save they sell is Sweet As Popcorn.
Okay. Well, maybe I just know what it is, but I don't know the brand.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe. So he started out in Raglan, literally cooking it in his garage and selling it at the local markets, and then had a factory, and then had a few factories, and now he's exporting popcorn overseas. He's a popcorn man. So Bill Neal, he'll be there. And also I've got Kylie Harcourt, who isn't actually from Harcourt's.
Ironically.
Yeah. She started HGB marketing company with another local business lady.
Okay.
I think 2011, 2013 they started, and now they've got like 15 staff, like all sorts of marketing staff, and so 4 pretty cool businesses, a range of different things as well. So Eventbrite is where you get the tickets through, but you can find the events on my Facebook page. So if you just look up Daniel Hopper Harcourt's on Facebook, or look up LinkedIn Local, and like the events, you're about to just find the ticketing link through there or on my LinkedIn profile. And there's also a LinkedIn Local Hamilton page on LinkedIn. If you just look up LinkedIn Local Hamilton, you should be able to go to the page. And also the hashtag LinkedIn Local Hamilton. If you put on the hashtag, you'll be able to see heaps of content from previous events. And then you'll also find a link to my website where you can... a page on my website, which you'll link. There's a LinkedIn Local page on there where you can put your email into just a little form, and then you'll go into my database. So when tickets to each event are available, I send an email out to the database. I think you're on the database. You would have got an email.
Yeah. I'm definitely on the database.
Yeah. So literally as soon as the Eventbrite page is ready to go, email goes out. And tickets usually don't last very long. So
no. They wouldn't. And for anyone who is listening to this or watching this that is not from Hamilton, just check out LinkedIn Local for your local area.
Hopefully there's one.
Yeah, hopefully there isn't one.
Hopefully it's still
there
doing
isn't,
it. Maybe you
start
should do
one.
it. Yeah.
Start one. Cool. All right. Make sure you share, like, and subscribe. And keep an eye out on LinkedIn Local. Until next time, stay safe.
Oh, this is on YouTube?
Yes, it is on YouTube.
You can watch videos of previous LinkedIn Local events on my YouTube page as well.
Okay, boom. There you go.
Daniel Hopper Harcourt's or something. No, just Daniel, I don't know, something.
I'll post the link.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, thanks everyone.
All right, bye.
See ya.
Cheers.